Hello everybody in YouTube land and everyone watching live on Twitch. I'm Justin from Playing Board Games, and today I am starting the first part of my investigator rankings predictions. Like, these are predictions for the investigators in the current format. This is going to be less of a video where I just like plop someone in a tier and I say, yes, this is exactly how it's going to be. This is why this is. This video is actually going to be a little bit more analytical. We're going to be taking the time to look at these investigators' cards in their current pool, because now that we have a beta idea of like what current is going to be, we can start discussing on this and start making some predictions on power level and deck ideas, card concepts, all that kind of fun stuff that comes here. One thing that's really neat about current is that these investigator rankings are actually entirely separate from their rankings in the legacy environment, right? When you have legacy, these investigators have every card available to them, which means that they can kind of build whatever the hell they want. They can hit the power level that they dream about hitting in legacy. However, in current, that is not the case. So we will be able to kind of see some like deviations from one to another, where, for example, Alessandra is going to generally just be slightly stronger in a legacy environment because she doesn't have fine clothes, right, in a current environment. And this is the kind of fun stuff that current allows, and allows for kind of like a smaller slice of investigators to look at and a smaller slice of like analysis for us to kind of see how things go. So rather than explain the tiers each time, I actually have a little summary for how I feel these are going to be. And notably, he said the word, everyone, drop the streamers, he said the word. Notably, this is actually just all prediction, and then I'm excited to dive in, try some of these investigators out with their current card pool, and like watch other people play them, and kind of see how they feel after all that. And my plan is to do this constantly, right? Because we're going to have rotation at least, hopefully, once a year, right? So there's going to be a lot more of this fun analysis, which I think is going to be really fun to do. Because if there's one thing I love in Arkham, it's analysis. So we are going to start with our boy, Roland Banks. We're going to just do the Guardians one today. So Guardians are going to be our starting point here. So Roland Banks, I guess the big question is, what does this guy lose, right? What does he lose that's not here anymore? So thanks to Arkham Build, because I know someone in the comments are going to ask, this is Arkham.build, use it. It's much better than Arkham DB. I like Arkham DB, but Arkham Build is just like chef's kiss. Alright, so one thing I like to look at for Roland Banks is obviously weapons, right? And there are still a good amount of weapons that he has available to him in this whole thing. So he has a bunch of one-handed weapon. Of course, he has the machete and the 45 automatic. So those are good options that already exists. But the upgrade of 45 automatic was in Path to Carcosa. So this card's not available to him, and that's a nice upgrade that he can have. So the other thing I think that's important to consider here is, what is he upgrade into as well? When starts Eric's YouTube Innsmouth line run? End of August, so end of the month. End of the month, that's going to start coming out. The Remington is another great way, but I mean, I think a big thing here for all these fighters, if we're looking at this purely from a spike standpoint, and baby, you know that's what I'm doing, is all these Guardians, except for Marion, have Runic Axe, right? Except for also probably Nat Cho. He doesn't really need Runic Axe either. So no matter what, Guardians are happy in the current environment because of Runic Axe, right? So if we look at who we have here for Guardians, this is actually very interesting though, right? Because in the past you have so many Guardians that are happy to use Runic Axe, but if we look at this right now, Roland Banks and Wilson Richards, and not even like Wilson Richards is like jumping up and down to play Runic Axe. This is very interesting. And this is kind of that fun thing. Give me portrait images, by the way. This is kind of the fun thing that, again, that current provides, where a card that everyone agrees is insanely powerful actually isn't too crazy in the current environment, right? Like, yeah, Nacho could play it, but I think Nacho is actually still somehow better with his boxing gloves. So it's really only kind of Roland that's, like, seeking to fight with the Runic Axe, which is very interesting. We ain't freaking with the Katana. Alright, there's options. The upgraded Blessed Blade is also really good. This is very nice for Marion. I think, like, Marion in, when the dust settles and, like, everyone's done doing the cool stuff that they like to do with, like, the Book of War and, like, 1-2 Punch 5, which is still going to be legal here. I do imagine that Marion is going to just fall comfortably into using Blessed Blade just as a consistent way to just kill things, because Blessed Blade is kind of a crazy card. It's kind of like just so, like, hyper designed on being powerful that it's kind of just crazy for a one-handed weapon. But yeah, I think Guardian weapons are in a good place, but I think looking at most of these, I think Wilson Richards is going to fall more into the Kluver role, but he could still, because, like, what does he have for tools to fight with? We'll look at him when we get to him. We're jumping a bit. We're jumping the gun a little bit. But yeah, I think Roland, no matter what, he has Runic Axe, so, like, that is no problem, right? He also still has the Machete to start, upgrade that into the Blessed Blade. He could do the Remington too. The Remington is actually, like, a pretty fun gun to build with. I don't know how much he can take advantage of it leaving play on command, but I think no matter what, Machete into Blessed Blade or just going Runic Axe means that Roland is not going to really have any sort of issues coming up here. Alright, I want to focus first on his Guardian side, and then we're going to start looking at his Seeker stuff here. Yeah, so Book of War, he could potentially play with this. Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff there. I mean, like, the Nat Cho deck so every class is incredibly happy that, every class is kind of just happy that their starter deck stayed in current rotation, because there's just a lot of good cards there. So, Ancestral Token is nice for Roland to have. Martyr's Vambrace is also not terrible. I know it seems like a crazy thing to go with this one, but the +1 while resolving Revelation abilities is actually pretty relevant for Roland. Going to 4 Brain or 3 Foot is actually really nice. He can also draw enemies from other people. That's not a bad way to go. Cleaning Kit if he's going guns, that's really nice. A ton of allies, like even like the Sanity Soak, he could just go Gurish. And Gurish is, like, very good. Again, Gurish is going to rotate out first, so that's kind of the fun thing too, is you look at this and you can actually then start to see where things are going to go. So, like, if Roland Banks doesn't get a good like, upgradable weapon, yeah, he has the Blessed Blade, but, like, this is a really high top end, right? So it's like, that's going to rotate out first, and then this one, you can kind of just see how the card pool is going to adapt over time, which is why rotation is very fun to kind of look at. Yeah, Greta's great, and Greta's a forever, at least right now. As far as we know, the Investigator starter decks aren't going anywhere. And levels over Guard Dog and Beat Cop, yeah. So, like, he's fine on his allies. I could see him frickin' with Alice Luxley, but I still think he wants, like, the fist boost to do the fighting. I think it's just better for him. I'm not sure if you heard, but Fantasy Flight announced they are releasing all previous print and play content for Twilight Imperium 4 in the next expansion. Does this give you hope for print and play Arkham release? Potentially, yeah. Never say never, right? Never say never, but I don't think so. I think that Arkham is like obviously a niche board game, but I think Twilight Imperium is even more niche, and I think they gain more to make that more accessible for the niche community so they can, like, get their stuff. And with Arkham, they're actually going to do better if they create new content. So that's kind of my thought on that. None of these are, like, crazy relevant for Roland. I think they're all, like, fine. Hunter's Armor, again, if you want soak, but it does get pretty expensive. But as you can see, there's actually not much in the body slot here. And if we throw Seeker in as well, yeah, there's nothing really in his body slot, so... Wolf Mask is nice in Roland. It's one of the investigators that I actually still like playing Wolf Mask in. Awkwardly losing Safeguard 2, I think, is going to do a lot for people who play Safeguard. I think that's going to be something. First Aid 3 and Field Kit, that's too pie in the sky for me. For my analysis here. So I do think, yeah, you could do First Aid and First Aid 3 and Field Agent, but I ain't freaking with that when I'm just going to play a Runic Axe and just kill enemies. So that's the boring part of this analysis today, is I'm going with my perspective of how I would approach these investigators. I do appreciate you shouting out, though, because I can shout it out vicariously through you. Locked and Loaded I don't think does anything yet. I think this is more for Michael McGlenn than it is for, like, the Guardian side of things. On the events, I mean, you have the Nat Cho deck. There's a lot of good stuff here. Like, Roland can play Counterpunch. Roland can play Get Over Here. Roland can play Breach the Door. He needs to work a little bit for that one. I don't know if I would even consider it. You guys know I think Dodge is just, like, always relevant. I think this card, like, just always can be played, so it's nice to have that just in the pool. What? Interesting. So we lose Dynamite Blast 2, but we get Dynamite Blast 3. That's a fun thing to keep, and same with Dynamite Blast 0, but that's core. Yeah, both evidences stay. Do you think they include a new Safeguard 2 or something similar in the next campaign? So I do think that as cards rotate into Current and rotate out, we're going to see kind of not necessarily replacements, but like a similar space, you know, where Guardians are going to like find ally-based movement again, but it's going to be in a different form, if that makes sense. Having Glory still for Guardians is huge. That's just nice to have just some like card draw for doing what you're going to be doing anyway. Yeah, the 1-2 punch. Stand Together is really good. So they don't get Stand Together 3, right? They lose it. We lose this thing. This is Dunwich. Yeah, we only get the level 0, which is still very good, right? Like, the economy of this card is really nice. Legacy format over time is going to end up with 8 or whatever cards that all do the exact same thing. Welcome to what Legacy actually already is, to be honest. There is so much redundancy. That is why decks are so powerful, because redundancy is so good, you know? And, like, that's why Current is going to be exciting, because there's going to be less redundancy. That's why I'm personally pretty excited for Current. But Legacy is already very powerful, and it's only going to get more powerful. That's kind of just how, like, Eternal formats go. They're just always going to be good. Task Force, I like it. I think that this card is still, like, I end up cutting it earlier than I did before, but it still just, like, does stuff. Overpower 2, oh my god, I'm so happy these cards are staying. They're just the glue that holds, like, so much together. Inspiring Presence with Beat Cop. I mean, I guess, like, going back to a Valentine set with First Aid 3 and Field Kit, you can still kind of, at least in Current right now, so, because this came out in the revised core, that's why it's here, even though there's the Path to Carcosa symbol, that while Field Agent is still here, and even, I guess, while Alice Luxley is still here, there is a lot of good, and even Greta Wagner. You could still do the Rube Goldberg Hurt Your Allies deck that he can do, which I think is really cool. So yeah, I think Roland's in a pretty good spot. His weakness is still his sanity, but we haven't even looked at the Seeker cards left. Yeah, we do have a good juice. Inspiring Presence is really nice for him. All right. I think that he is going to really... well, Oh no, we'll check out the specialist. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. This is buckle up. We're 15 minutes in and we haven't even finished a third of Roland yet. There's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot of stuff that's still coming. But I do think that he's gonna feel it when Scarlet Keys rotates out. I think there's a lot of nice pieces for Scarlet Keys that he has that I think are unfortunately he's gonna feel when they rotate out. But I do think that overall his Guardian card pool is in a very good place. Alright, let's look at the Seeker stuff. So this one's going to be less exciting, I think, just because, again, Roland is probably going to kind of go more... Like, Roland is going to feel like how he did at the start of the game, which was, like, he's going to do more of the fighty part, and he's going to grab, like, low shroud locations. I don't think, like, for example, you're going to run Magnifying Glass in Roland Banks, even though they put one of in his deck. Grim Memoir Stain for a bit. That's really nice for Daisy. Once again, getting ahead of myself. That's going to be a whole different video. When I was workshopping this idea, I was like, oh, am I going to really split this up by class? Or am I going to do this, like, all in one video? And again, 16 minutes, and we're still talking about Roland. I think these are all going to be split up by class. I did a joke chemistry set deck that actually turned out really nice with Roland, but that was a big thing relying on Jeremiah Kirby. So I think that deck is not a thing anymore because Edge of the Earth is gone. But I don't think any of these are too interesting. In the early days, like when there was less competitive in the accessory slot, I actually liked Disc of Insomnia for like Roland because it also can just like get a clue. But I think the accessory slot in Guardian is now actually pretty legit. I think Misdirection actually could be something in Roland. Use it to kind of like tank for other people. Artistic Inspiration, very nice for Roland, especially if you lean hard in on the card draw in the Seeker class. Steady-handed, obviously Roland is very happy this is here. This is just a way for him to like not die. This is his horror soak, and he has it for at least another current cycle, which is really nice for him. I think this is really very comfortable for him to get. That's a really nice thing for him to have still. Yeah, Cosmic Revelation. There's not too much I'm seeing here. I would take Thorough Inquiry and Roland for sure. This is a nice thing, some good card draw. He still gets that beautiful upgraded perception. Yeah, not too much in the Seeker side, but his Guardian side looks very comfortable. There's enough that you could, like, boost it, right? Like, I think Artistic Inspiration, I would give this to Roland unless someone else was running Chemistry set. Because it kind of just, like, acts as... you use it during Mythos phases, right? And you basically turn cards in your hand to kind of, like, baby Ward of Protections or deny existences, which is really nice. Yeah, there's not too much here. Once again, I like the Thorough Inquiry. Obviously, like, both Joe and Roland, but Joe is dead, rest in peace. They really like Practice Makes Perfect, but now that that's gone, it's very interesting. Alright, we got Specialist cards and Neutrals. Neutrals, there's not too much here to talk about. Signature. Does that do anything? I mean, it's a good card. The advanced version is really nice. And those are still legal, as we know. Though they kind of just exist in every state. We're not going to be talking about them. Yeah, Dakota Garofalo. This is a very nice thing for her to have. It just gives him some movement. A very nice specialist card for him to have in his kit. The +1 Brain is also very relevant. I don't know how much it's going to be relevant like during the Mythos phase, but like maybe there's like a weird Hunter's Armor soak thing you can do. I don't know how good that is, but still. Trench Armor we're probably not touching. On Their Heels is fine, but I don't think we're going to like move mountains to play it. I love that E-Cash too. You can't kill it. It's too strong, baby. And then those, yeah. Okay. I think the most interesting thing about this whole current thing is it took me a while to realize it, funnily enough, but that basic weaknesses are also in current. So like basic weaknesses rotate out. I don't know why it took me so long to realize that, but I think that is kind of neat. All right, Roland Banks. Interesting. One second. I want to look at specifically his events. I think he's a B. Because I think no matter what with Roland, you always have those issues of... you always have those issues with, like, mythos, right? Like, so that's always going to be a struggle on the horror side with Roland. And I think while he doesn't have, like, some of the tools that he had otherwise, like, I think he still has some good stuff, some good soak. I think he has some relevant skills as well. I don't feel like I can put him in A, but I can definitely put him in B. So I think Roland is going to be, will do good, and he's going to have some struggles. All right, let's... I would say smooth ride when you think the baseline is going to be lower overall. So B tier today is an A tier tomorrow. Well, that actually... applies because I'm pretty sure Roland was a C tier on my last thing. So he's... I wouldn't be surprised if some people who are on the lower end are going to go higher in this. Because I'm pretty sure I gave him... yeah, I gave Roland a C tier. So, he's going to do good, but I think, again, he's going to have this, he has the same weaknesses. Those didn't go away. What the frick? Oh, no. I built a deck. Okay, good. Nothing's changed. All right, give me this guy, please. Nathaniel Cho is next up on here. And honestly... I'm not going to bury the lead here. I think Nat Cho is going to be S tier. And the reason for this is that he's already incredibly powerful with only his deck, and his deck actually isn't going anywhere. So I think he's one of the best fighters, right? But he basically, all he really needs to function is his deck and the core. And he gets his deck and the core and more. We're still going to check out all the cards. We're still going to do some fair analysis here. But I don't want to be humming and hawing and be like, how do you think this guy's going to turn out? I do think he is going to be the best Guardian fighter. Not necessarily the best Guardian, but the best Guardian fighter we have here. All right. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier when I was talking about Runic Axe, I think Boxing Gloves is... I still think Boxing Gloves is going to win out for Nat Cho, just because his ability to get those extra pieces is kind of clutch. And that +2 while fighting, just being a comfortable 7 is kind of insane. Boxing Glove, it's kind of crazy how much they pushed Nat Cho, because the dude gets stuff done. And he can get stuff done without the Boxing Gloves. It's like a crazy card. It's kind of wild what they did with it. Alright, sorry, we'll just start with just Guardian. Once again, I think all these one hand slot stuff, you can make a case to build a Book of War deck, and I think that's fun and cool. But again, I think just Boxing Gloves is the way to go still. It's always been for him. Accessory slot, the Ancestral Token is just like value over time. I don't see why you wouldn't just include it, right? There's nothing wrong with free Bless tokens for just playing the game. Like, if the only thing you have to do is put it down and then forget it. It soaks 2 horror as well, which I think is actually kind of nice for him. So Ancestral Token, I think, for the majority of the Guardians we have here, are... it's going to just, like... That is a good idea. List video of best rolls in Current. But yeah, Ancestral Token is just going to, like, find places in these decks. I think, unlike Roland, we're not really worried about Martyr's Vambrace, because he can still just, like, kill people. It's crazy. And he gets, like, just, like... The difference between 9-6 and 9-5, because he gets that extra soak because he's only monocolor, kind of moves mountains. It's Randall, his brother. Likewise with Roland, the allies here are... There's a lot of things to like, you know. Gurish, obviously, for the endless soak. Beat Cop for the damage in this. Even Greta. Like, Greta can still get stuff done here for Nat Cho. He is expensive, but we did keep together. We have Stand Together still. And we also got Clean Them Out, which Nat Cho can actually play because it deals 2 damage. So, like, he's actually, like, looking pretty nice money-wise as well. And he can also play just Emergency Cash too, right? Like, that's... And also just regular Emergency Cash. So, that's really good from him. Again, these aren't really gonna move mountains here. I could see... I don't think so. It's like maybe Bulwark and Boxing Gloves, but that's just like value that doesn't end. And I don't know if we need value that doesn't end when you could just like punch things to death, right? So I don't know about that one. Hunter's Armor. Yeah, that's probably going to be fine for him as well. I don't know if I'd consider it. I think that, like, he cares less about the Rube Goldberg machine. And he gets his healing out of, like, Randall. Handcuffs is still good. He can still get rid of his weakness. At least for one more cycle. I think that's going to be the biggest change for Nathaniel. Which is that he eventually is going to have to fight Tommy the normal way, right? He's going to have to, like, actually just punch the guy to death by spending 3 actions. But at least for one more current cycle, he's going to be able to, he'll be able to handcuff the motherfricker instead. I don't think we're freaking with Relentless, even though it came in his cycle. I think Safeguard probably isn't going to see much play. I think Safeguard's... everyone's playing Safeguard 2. I think... I mean, maybe I could be wrong, but I don't think this is really worth it. So I don't know how much that's going to, like, move the needle for me personally. I also don't think Nat Cho is going to be freaking with Wolf Mask. It's just, like, overkill. I think you'd rather just find, like, another event that kill things. And speaking of events that kill things, as I said, Nat Cho just kind of keeps his deck, right? So he can play Get Over Here into Upgraded Get Over Here. He can play Clean Them Out. He can play Counterpunch into Upgraded Counterpunch. He'll play Breach the Door. He'll actually just run Breach the Door just to, like, get it out there, right? He'll just hit it, go with it, and just like let things be easier for other people. Like he could just play that. He'll probably run Dynamite Blast. He's gonna play Glory for sure to just get more card draw on top of his card draw. Hunter's Mark is also really nice with him. That's crazy. I mean, him and Marion had that good synergy coming with it. Safeguard 0 is considered S tier by a lot. It's free movement every turn. Yeah, I think it's... Alright, we'll pause. People love sending me on fucking tangents. Okay. Yes, it is free movement. But what are you doing with your free movement, right? Like, it's one of those things where... Yeah, free movement is good, but it's all just tempo, right? If this is your form of getting tempo on the game, great. But I personally think that there are better ways to get tempo on the game than just spending an action and 2 resources to do this, right? I only get 30 cards in my deck, and I think Safeguard Zero is fine if you like it, but I'm not fucking with it because I'll find my tempo in better places. Its free movement is not a selling point to me. I can just play a card that instead gives me 5 damage on an enemy, and I'm doing that instead. And then I'm looking at card draw that I don't have to spend actions to do, right? It's my own personal preference. I'm not saying Safeguard is bad, and I'm not saying you're bad for playing it, so just don't talk to me about Safeguard anymore. I'm sick of it. All right. Yeah, Monster Slayer is also going to be really nice. Yeah, he just has a lot of, like, the mono a mono staying here, too. Like, he just has, like, his kit, the 1-2 punch into 1-2 punch. He's probably not playing quick shot like he could, but I still think he has better options. Ready for anything, I think is awkward, but he'll probably be able to play to level 0. Task Force. Yeah, Nat Cho, there's a reason he's S tier. Dude is getting the job done. Yeah, this is nuts. This is nuts. All right, I want to see his neutral cards. Because I actually don't know his specialist offhand. No. That's not bad. That's just infinite soak. That's actually pretty alright for him. I don't think I'm going to, like, run out to play this. But he just knows the grindstone for Crowbar. He does, doesn't he? He does. That's true. Deal 11 damage. Let's go. Finally. This card's playable. Wow. Yeah, there's not much at his neutral side, but that doesn't matter. Because, like, he's just so damn good. He's crazy. Whoopsie, chat. I clicked the wrong button. I closed you. Alright. Yeah, very nice for Nat Cho. Alright, Carson Sinclair. This one's going to be very interesting, and I'm excited to check this guy out. Alright. So Carson Sinclair, the Butler. So Carson Sinclair has been on an interesting journey, right? Where I remember when he was spoiled, everyone was like, boo, this guy sucks. This guy sucks. And then there were people who were like, what the hell were they thinking with this? This design's crazy. Why would they even consider it? And then there were people like me who was like, I don't know, he seems alright. I just wish he had 4 brain, which I don't necessarily stand by anymore, but I do think he would be a little bit more interesting if he did have 4 brain. But it turns out Carson was actually pretty legit, and all the people who said that Carson was going to be good got to eat the ultimate, like, they got to feel like kings when it came out, which is hype. I love when people, like, do that. And I think that he's been on a very interesting journey. However, we've never seen Carson Sinclair on his own. With no, without the full card pool. So, I guess here's the question. I think he's device because some people see the game as 1 to 2 players and others see as 3 to 4 players. I agree, but there were a lot of people who I know played the game with 3 or 4 players who were saying his design was shit still. And those people were a bit out to lunch. Because in 3 or 4 players, he's just seemed like easy auto. Alright. So, what do we normally do with Carson? Right? You do soak. And you you play like Gurish, is like the most common thing I've seen people do with him. He still has an Obsidian Bracelet, which a lot of people do play in a lot of Carson builds. So that's still good. I know people have built Runic X Carson. I ain't freaking with that for this analysis. So Carson's weird. Like, we're talking specifically 3+ players for him. We ain't pumping the brakes for anything less than that. I mean, Martin's Van Brace isn't awful. Same with Police Badge. Like, those are things he could do on that. Again, Gurish is kind of his way here, I think. I think Gurish is still a thing. I mean, he could also do the Field Agent... Field Agent and First Aid Kit thing. You can go to that kind of support. Bestow Resolve, Carson is a thing. I don't know how this is going to be, with a smaller card pool, but we're going to check out his skills and his off class, because that's where this one really shines, I think. We can look at those. I could see this like a weird Bulwark combo too. Very interesting. Hunter's Armor is still here, which he's very happy about. He really likes those. Like, that's another thing that I see a lot of people do with him. He's happy to put 10 XP into this. He usually will take, like, the Treachery. He'll take Hex Drinker. Get Super More Soak. What is that? 4/7. And then he'll, like, maybe do, like, Lightweight, at least. Maybe Protective Runes as well. Probably Protective Runes. Yeah. I've seen someone do Enchanted with Protective Runes, Soak for a bunch for people. Yeah, again, First Aid Kit is probably notable. Sound Support, I agree, is going to be nice for him. Can he do Eyes of Elusia? He definitely can. I think that's not a bad way for him to go either. Because you can load it up and get the other version better. That's definitely a build that can be really interesting for him to go through with this. You just go first and just, like, pump the things up. Yeah, that's something. I think he's probably going to be okay. Carson is an old man. He's resilient. Alright, now we can look at his off-color events. Look what I found is still nice on the red. At a Crossroads is really nice. We're not looking at things like Catch. We're looking basically... He's probably going to still try to remain Testless with as much as possible. Cosmic Revelation. Yeah, so right now red and yellow seem really good. There's still a good friend Drawn to the Flame. Elaborate Distractions, also notable. Still, I mean, that was in his cycle. He still has Guidance. Yeah, the Turkey and the Distraction for crowd control. Yeah, he has the tools. Nature of the Beast also ain't, like, he can... Yeah, he is. Red and yellow. Survivor and Seeker seem really good. Once this is done, I'm gonna scroll through his Guardian events. He could also play Short Rest in his level 0 deck. I still don't think this card is really worth it. You just want your cards to do more, you know? You still play Man Stand Together still here. I'm so happy. Task Force is... Yeah, there's a good stuff. Thorough inquiry? Oh my god. Okay, I think I'm gonna put Carson in A tier. He could maybe be S tier, but I think I'm gonna put him in A. I think this MFer is gonna have a smooth ride in Current. He's gonna be out first. Like all the Scarlet Keys guys, they're knocking on the door trying to get out of Current. You know, they're like, let me into Legacy. Carson, you silly goose, you're already in Legacy. I mean, I think his Bestow Resolve deck has gotten worse. So, like, with Bestow Resolve, you're looking for these kind of cards. Where the design of the card and the balance of the card is that it's 3 different icons. And then Bestow Resolve says, yes, but what if they were all just wilds, right? And it's the same kind of thing here. This is 2, but you can double it with that. So that's kind of what you're looking for, that. Yeah, like Eureka, which is not here anymore. Yeah. I think Carson is pretty happy with where he is. I think I'm happy with that. Wilson Richards. So I built a Wilson Richards deck on a stream when someone said, what would Wilson Richards look like in Current? So I just slapped together a Wilson deck that I thought was, that I would play. And I think the level 0 was tough, but then when we got to the experience cards, things like popped off. This is one that I think we're gonna have to. Let's actually start by looking at tools. Let's do that. Let's go there, because then I can just look at Guardian. So reduce the resource cost. The first tool asset you play each round by 1. You get +2 skill value resolving skill tests on tool assets. Effect 0. You may swap a tool. Yeah, we don't care about that. So the idea was the deck was building into like the high end, because like his Nose to the Grindstone deck actually seems really sick. He also does still have Chainsaw and Cleaning Kit. I think the thing that Wilson is going to be missing the most in Current is the survivability that he had in Legacy. I think that's the thing he's probably going to be missing the most, right? You're probably not freaking with Crowbar that much. I think he just has better things. Yeah, having Fingerprint Kit at 0 is also going to be something that's going to be missing all the way back from Circle Undone for that one. But like he'll still frick around with Flashlight level 0. I think Astute is right that this cycle of Anchor Chain, Handhook, and Nautical Charts are all good for him, right? Like free events that he gets +2 for. He gets to do them at 5. The only big downside is that the card draw to play the discard is a little bit tough, but it is a deck you feasibly could play with him. Sylvan Lockpicks is good again with Nose to the Grindstone once we get to that. There's some good stuff here. When I built him, he was a Clover. And I think that realistically, that's the space he is going to go, because it turns out a lot of tools are kind of more geared towards clue getting. We don't have like a wrench or something or like a hammer that he can hit with, because the only like really weapons he has are Handhook, Hatchet, Crowbar, but we ain't fucking with that. And then Chainsaw and Pitchfork, right? So there's not really many weapons, so he's going to kind of fall more, I think, into the Clover side. So I think that ultimately, like, he can still flex a little bit, but I do think that he is going to lean more into the clue side for sure. Like, look at all these freaking cards. Like, Lockpicks, Fingerprint 4. These are all really nice. However, one thing about Fingerprint Kit 4 is that this is going to rotate out right away. So I think that Wilson is going to, unless they make a bunch of new tools, he's going to really feel the rotation coming up. Which is very interesting. Which is very good. Same with the upgraded keyring. Both Thieves Kit. Oh my god. This guy's fucking looking at the edge. Like, he knows what's coming. And he's like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. Cleaning kits are still nice again for Chainsaw. And then also basically all this shit. All the clue tools are going away because Keimani is going away. Keimani is the clue tool investigator, right? Yeah, okay. Give me just Guardian. I think with Guardian, like, if we look at his ally, he can play Alice Luxley and Field Agent while she's here. Greta Wagner, again, also ain't bad. I mean, I think Guardians are very happy. I think Valentine's 100% right. That Guardians are very happy that Greta Wagner is here. She's a very good ally that just works with a lot of Guardians, and the way Guardians have kind of evolved over time. He could also play Gurish for the Soak, but I think a lot of his XP, like, I think he's going to more likely fall to these two, Field Agent and Alice Luxley. Maybe B-Cop, depending on how he's flexing, but I think these two are kind of going to be where he wants to be. Because he has to put his experience into his tools, and that's like where the like a little bit of awkward devolve comes in. Like where they kind of just like diverging paths for that, the choices he has to make. He'll definitely play Wolf Mask if he's going to lean towards fighting. I think the events are going to be important because we're looking at specifically economy. What's Wilson's deck building? He gets 5 improvised or upgrade cards. Okay, we will look those up as well. But I'm looking for specifically economy here. Glory. I mean, he has some in neutral. I know he has some in neutral. He has a very good neutral economy card, which we're going to get to. And no, it's not eCash. It's, this is, I mean, again, he doesn't really have the card draw to do this. I think Notice the Grindstone's very good for him. It's the, what is it? This one, the True Awakening. This is very nice for Wilson. And I think he's going to be very happy to have that in his kit. So, I think that's very good for him to get there. Yeah. I want to look up the, what is it, Insider Upgrades? Improvise and Upgrades. I mean, where's the party is card draw. Just someone else solves your thing, but that is card draw. That's not bad. I would take that at level 0 and then upgrade into the True Awakening. Okay, I think I'm going to put Wilson Richards in... I think I'm going to put him in C tier. I think he's worse than Roland. I think, like, he's fine, but I think that he... Of the 4 Guardians that we looked at so far, I think that Wilson Richards is going to stumble the most. Because we haven't even looked at, like... I think that there's going to be a lot of fragility in Guardians coming up. Because of they've lost a lot of good protection. Wilson praying for some good tools in Gathuga. I hope they give it to him, man. I hope they give them to him. Yeah, this is it's a pretty tough time to be Wilson, I think. I think Wilson's easily the worst of the Guardians. Like, I think he's still going to do okay. But I think that he is going to stumble the most. All right, we have one last Guardian to talk about here. The new one, Marion Tavares. Marion, you gotta just chill for a second while I look at just Guardian cards. Let's get your deck list on your deck building though, because she gets to choose 2 of a trait. So her deck building, well, she gets to choose 1 trait. She gets up to level 2 those, and up to 5 level 0 survivor cards. She has a very open deck building style. Yeah, no matter what, I agree. She keeps Book of War and 1/2 punch. So that is, I mean, it'd be crazy if Book of War already rotated out. But yeah, so no matter what, she has like that going for her. I think actually the majority of the deck that I played in my Drowned City blind run was actually Current. Do I have that somewhere? One second. Let me just fade that out while I open up my folders here. Okay. So what do I lose from this? I lose Hallowed Mirror, Stick to the Plan, Fool Me Once, which I regretted putting into my deck. Act of Desperation. Hallowed Mirror, I already said. Monster Slayer. Here, Marion, why don't you go away for a second, too? The upgraded Stand Together. Toe-to-toe and take the initiative. So I think that, like I said, she is going to kind of have that issue of she's going to kind of have that issue where she's going to be a little bit fragile. But I think the big thing that Marion has going for her is that she is incredibly open with how you build her. Her ability is just card advantage, and that's like hard to say no to. Losing Stick to the Plan is sad for all Guardians. I actually haven't been playing. I don't play Stick to the Plan that much, and I don't miss it that much. So I think I'm actually not that upset about losing it. I just like mulligan well and get good card draw. And, you know, and then it's just like you solve that problem. Where am I going to put her? I mean, we should look at some stuff. But I think she's going to be either... I'm choosing between these 2 tiers, S or A. She's very strong. She's not going to be below A. I know that for sure. I want to look specifically at the events because you just play B-Cop with her or Field Agent depending on what you're doing. Glory. Hunter's Mark is still very good on her. Obviously the 1/2 punch. Breach the Door is very cool for her. She still has level 0 Stand Together, which is honestly like not as busted as level 3 Stand Together in her, but still very good. And she also has like, she still has like Emergency Cash. Did I run E-Cash in this deck? I did, yeah. E-Cash 2. Oh, Justin, you beautiful son of a bitch. I love you so much. E-Cash 2. She has the True Awakenings, which are just nuts in her. Alright. Let me look at these level 0 survivor cards. Let me just look at just level 0 for now. I mean, she's still got End of the Road. That's also just, like, really good in her. She also still just has Lucky. Lucky is just very good. I think this deck I specifically did with the Remington is going to become worse without Active Desperation. But in theory, what does she have? These, which are just item assets? So it's kind of still there. She has both Catch and the Unconventional Method, right? So they're both, like, it's still there. You just, like, lose out a bit on the damage. All right, let me look at the upgrades in these colors. So Fortune, she's got good weather. A Glimmer of Hope. Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, that's pretty good. She still just has the Blessed Blade, which you'll probably use as her weapon of choice if you're not doing Book of War loops. And, like, Book of War also just works with the other stuff. Man, I'm going to put her in S tier. She's just so open, and her ability is just, like, very, very good. She has a little bit of, I think she's, like, less good than Nat Cho. There's going to be less investigators, so we can definitely put this in like this, but I think Marion Tavares is actually one of the strongest investigators they've printed in a while. I think, like, her and George Barnaby run the box, you know? So I'm going to put her in S tier. She's below Nat Cho, and this might change, but she just seems very good. Okay, well, with that, like I said, I didn't know if I was going to do this all in one video or in multiple videos, but I think giving these investigators time to breathe in their own video and their own classes is going to be better in the long term rather than me trying to just rush through all these ones later on. So this is it for this video. Guardians, this is where they fall into place. We're going to continue this on in the next video, which should be coming on the channel in the near future, is going to be the Seekers. So I hope you enjoyed this. Again, this is all predictive. Like, I'm just, like, trying to just guess where I feel these are going to be. These might change in practice, but that's the fun part of this kind of stuff, right? Who knows if I'm right or wrong? I do! I know if I'm right or wrong! Huge thank you to everyone who watched. I hope you enjoyed this. Huge thank you to everyone who is currently joining me right now on Twitch. All of you guys over there, you guys all rock. If you want to support the channel, like, comment, subscribe, all that usual YouTube stuff. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Have a good one. And as always, GG's!